So what is that flag up there on the ceiling? What am I looking at? The red one with the black stripe across it.
The Trinidad flag. My family's of Trinidad descent. Like Trinidad
My
Tobago.
man. I love it. There it is. I can hear the accent. You can hear mine, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
These are the UpRite Lions, a musical group of note in the Las Vegas area. And my man, Stan Henderson, again, shout out Stan, had his bar, Money Plays, and they had the Black Book sessions, which if you have been watching the podcast, you can see we talk about with Verbally and 360. And after that, Stan said, man, listen, Dar, I'm telling you, you've got to talk to the UpRite Lions. And I said, Stan, say no more. I got it. And here we are.
Right.
And here we
Appreciative. Always shout out to Stan. He called me this, I think he called me the same day, like, hey, this is my friend, this is my family. You got to talk to this guy. You got to listen to his story, and you got to talk, and you got to tell him yours. He was like, I just always think you guys got a great story. I was like, well, friends of you is friends of mine. So you, like I said, even when we hit up with the email, like friends of Stan. So it's dope to see how him as a person put that same spirit into that bar. Like I still miss that bar, like, but he made it so like it was everybody's cheers in there.
Yeah, like
so
you went in and you saw people that you knew. The energy was always good.
Yeah.
And as an artist, you felt like it was a place that you could test your new material. You know what I mean? You could see other artists, you know, and then a lot of the artists who would get up there would tell each other, you know, show respect, like show each other respect, you know, just sharing tips. It was a good place.
It was a cool vibe. He created such a cool vibe there. We were lucky to be a part and to be able to add some of that to it.
Yeah. You know, I always make white folks a little uncomfortable because they don't really understand. You all are talking in a little bit of codified language, however you choose to say it. So I'm going to translate for the white people. What they're saying is it was not necessarily easy for two young, talented black men to get a job or to get a stage or to get a microphone anywhere. And who's popping in, man? Who is that? Say hello.
Yeah, excuse us. It's our low one, right? My
That was
little
my
nephew.
son, yeah.
What's his name? Oh, is
True.
he?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Stick your head in anytime you feel like and say hi. All right. Anyway, so the fact that Stan, a black man bar owner in Las Vegas, had a venue where he had an open mic and would allow anyone, any type of music to come and play, like that was rare. And so, you know, hip hop especially, Jesus, I mean, it was rough in Vegas.
Around the time when we got here, 2012, 2013, they had stopped letting hip hop be on the strip. That was the quote unquote, you know, the way they moved. They just stopped having it, you know, especially for the local entertainment. What were they doing? They had Boomers for a little while. That was off the strip, and then
it was a few
just little
spots,
spaces here and there that you could go and rock, but it wasn't the same, you know. And you had to be a certain type. It was
like
good.
you could go on Money Plays and you could see somebody playing a triangle.
Right.
You could see somebody rapping. You go past that. You can see somebody rapping. You can see somebody doing guitar, doing comedy. You can see somebody doing a skit, doing poetry. It was just
it was a dope vibe in there.
You could just go and see a litany of things there, just different styles and abilities.
Right on. Yeah, you know, that's a rare thing. I know we all miss that right now, the pandemic. Stay safe, everybody. Don't go crazy and start getting out there because everybody feels the same way that you do. So
everybody still get out.
100%. Listen, you guys told me, first of all, introduce yourselves. I didn't even do that.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're so informal, but that's how good energy works. When people already just know that you're good, we just ready to get at it. So I understand. I am B-Star. I am one of the two.
I am Shef Seenya, and I am one of the two.
And we are the UpRite Lions. So good to meet everybody else that gets to watch this later.
Motherfucker, you guys are on point. I love it. Nice. Now I see why Stan had you come in there. You even have your intro on point. Give everybody a little bit of a background before. So let's go back, because what I'm interested in, I think everybody else would be too. You're from North Carolina. Senya's from Trinidad Tobago, as we found out from the flag. What part of North Carolina and what part of the islands?
All right, so the island is Scarborough, but I was raised in Trenton, New Jersey, so I'm more like a Jersey plant. Like there's two sides of the coin. So
Right.
I feel it.
I was mostly raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we met in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Wow. Greensboro?
Yeah, that's where we moved. We
and
moved from Greensboro, North Carolina, to Las Vegas
and
in a Mazda Tribute and
yeah,
a U-Haul.
yeah, just that, just like
I
that.
so what made you get up and say we got to get out of Greensboro? I mean, I can name about 5,000 reasons, but what was yours?
Um, listen, this music thing is something that we love, and performance is something that we love, and we have been doing it for a long time. We've been doing this a long time. This is my brother, like truly. Like we've been at this for a good 20 years for real now. Like, yeah, we used to joke like we've been doing this for 20 years, but now it's literally like we've been doing this for 20 years. So it's been an interesting ride. And we always knew that we had space to be more. In Greensboro, we traveled up and down the East Coast. We were able to do a lot of shows, and we were looking for places to be able to expand on what we did. It was difficult to
It kind of became, like big fish, small pond. It's like the larger we got, it was like, okay, Greensboro is only going to let you do certain things.
yeah,
In the Bible
we're a different type of group, right?
Yeah,
On top of that,
so
we're a different type of group. So our music doesn't sound like whatever your commercial black music is supposed to sound like.
yeah,
It doesn't sound like your commercial reggae. It sounds like something all its own, and our live performance is something as its own. So we be in between hair show expos and poetry venues and then hip hop venues. So we were a good mix of all of these things, but it was still difficult to expand, so to
to
speak,
just do what we
what
wanted
we
to
wanted
do,
to
put
do.
our things together the way
And
we wanted to put them together.
wait, I came out here one year to help a friend move, and we had never been out here. What was it? The poetry. It was Ray J had a venue called Poetry.
Yep.
At one point out here, and they had reached out at one point and said they wanted us to come perform here. That's the only thing we really knew about Vegas like that. But they didn't want to pay us, and they didn't want to help get out here. So I was like,
So
well,
guess we won't be
and
making
we've always
that.
had this thing. People always think that we're backed by something because of how our stuff sounds and how it looks, or like you said, oh, you guys got your shit together. Like, yeah, this is just naturally how we are.
Yeah.
So everybody always thinks it's backed by something. So they're like, yeah, so give me some of that, and then you guys come on out. So it never works that way. So I just so happened to help a friend move out here, and I literally got out when we drove from like Tennessee to Vegas. And when I got out the car, I smelled the air. This sounds crazy as hell. I smelled the air. We were like on the outskirts. We hadn't got in yet. And I called him. I called my brother, and I was like, look, man, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm pretty positive this is where we need to be.
Yeah.
It
was late.
This feels like where we need to be. And the further I was there for a day, I didn't get to see a whole lot. I just had this feeling, and I came home. I think a few things happened in our favor, and I bought like one-way tickets like the next month for us to come out and see and come out and do. I booked us a show at that right off of Craigslist that ended up being in the Luxor. And
Whoa. Time. Wow.
yeah,
You brothers are a trip.
yeah,
You went to Craigslist and you got a job at the Luxor?
Yeah, it was a show.
It was a show.
It was a show that was it was like in the cat house, and we're the UpRite Lions. I was like, that seems right. That seems like it's the right thing. This all seems like it makes sense. We were supposed to be out here 7 days. We stayed with my friend that I helped move out here for a couple of days.
Right on.
In Luxor for a couple of days. Since we had the little show there, we got us a hotel room for a day or two, and we had music, we had our patches. We had just started putting out our little merchandise. So we came out here and we made enough connections to end up being out here for like another week and a half just by selling merch and meeting people. Somebody shot us a video out here. So like we did all of that. We went back home and we thought about it, and
it was just a move to make.
And we put together a little GoFundMe, and for the next 6 months to a year, we just saved what we could. And on the date we said, we picked up and we left. We did like 2 trips. The wrote an article on us about moving to Vegas to pursue what we were doing. So that was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? The city gave us a nice send off, and we drove out here.
So if I'm hearing right, you all had, I mean, Greensboro is it's a small marketplace, but you also had a unique sound, which is like any artist, no matter what their discipline, knows how important that is. You got to have your own sound, your voice, your viewpoint, right? Your point of view. But you guys had made a splash in Greensboro, so you were like, it's a big risk. I'll back up.
Yeah,
I mean, any move's a big move, but
right. Yeah, this was a big risk because we took
our fan base. Our major fan base was the southeastern region. You know what I'm saying?
And I still had my son with me as well. So.
At the time.
So that's incredible. You didn't say this, but you did say it actually. But the thing that's really interesting here is that you, B-Star, had the first inkling, I think. And I don't know, no disrespect, but it sounds like you were the one who had the first feeling. And as soon as you got to the outskirts of the city, quote, I could smell something. I know this sounds crazy. And that's interesting because that shit is how things happen to me. Not all the time. Mostly it's a visceral gut feeling for me. And then as soon as the gut happens, it's weird. And it does sound weird. And I don't give a fuck. It's my show. You start to pick, it sounds like you pick up on the energies pretty quickly. Both of you do.
You can feel it. Yeah, this is what it is.
He picked up on it, and when we arrived, it was like we got off the plane and everything, and then people were just speaking to us getting off the plane. So I was like, what's going on here? And then when we actually got on the strip and people were just walking up to us like, can we take pictures with you?
We felt like the people we were genuinely fit into what was here. You know what I'm saying? At the time, and to be honest, this leads to a whole nother skew of conversation. I'm sure this won't be the first and last time we talk. There were 3 of us. We've got another brother. There were 3 of us. So
where's he?
He's actually somewhere around the corner, down the street somewhere, but we're not in the same group anymore. So
we're still brothers.
Still brothers, because you can't change that, Pat. But through this whole transition, he ended up not being a part of the group anymore. So UpRite Lions started as a 2-person group, added a brother to make it a 3-person group to gain the recognition even further, and then still lost and became a 2-person group again. Yeah. So it's an interesting tale that we're looking forward to putting the footage and things together for that as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because people still see us with our other brother Trace, and they're like,
right,
I thought you guys had broke up. And it's just when you see someone can do a certain thing and you know what you do as well, and at times that clashes in the middle of it.
Yeah, sometimes
you gotta let everybody be free, so
everybody
you can come
has
back
to be
and
exactly who they need to be. You know what I'm saying? And just for us to be brothers is what's always been important. So it's dope that he's a dope artist in his own right. We're both
amazing voice.
Yeah, we're both dope artists individually as well as together. So it's dope that we can still make music together.
And for the people who don't know what dope, he means really, really good. You keep saying dope, so I didn't want him to think we had a drug problem.
Oh shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that line has been crossed. I like it. Man, just keep smoking because you guys are fucking wicked entertaining. You're wicked entertaining.
This is natural. We put that down. Actually, we stopped because the conversation was captive.
I'm just fucking with you, man.
It's your energy, brother.
Yeah, man. Good energy transfer.
Yeah, no, I'm just thank you. I'm just fucking with you. It's so interesting to hear that story because there's so much uh for me, I mean, I love all of that. Look, there's business of show, right? They should call it the business of show, right?
Yeah.
They call that shit show business. And it's a really weird thing. I'm not a musician. I love music. My fantasy is to produce. In my mind, I can play like about 17 instruments. Fucking amazing. Not so much in the real world, but I'm listening to you guys struggle. And what you did. You went for big fish in a small pond, and you come out to Vegas, and then right away, like clearly, it was a good move for you. But then to leave your whole fan base. And I'm just thinking about, I could keep going on, but there's, all these challenges come up when you're trying to do something like this. Society's first thing is to dismiss every artist. You're fucking crazy. You're not going to make any money doing it.
Yeah.
Cool, but that's not what the journey is about. It really is. And I hate to say this, this may sound a little bit weird or esoteric, but it is I hate to say it, it's a spiritual path. It really is. Everything is a spiritual path, even if you decide to be whatever, finance minister.
Creating it is ritualistic. It's a spiritual path because people go through rituals. Everything you would attach to a religion is what you kind of do with your music. You have a sacred place, which is your studio or wherever you write. You have your sacred pens, your outfits, the places you go to get inspiration. There's certain people.
All of that.
When you find a studio you like, you stay at that studio. When you find a producer you like, you stay with that producer. So it's all ceremonial.
Yeah. So it's all spiritual. Like, so that's definitely the journey through it all, because there's so much that I've learned from pursuing this craft and to make it do what I want to do rather than find the flow in how we all work together, how the music works with who we are anyway. It's been an interesting journey. I believe that.
100%. Let me ask you, what would you call your style of music?
Live action.
Yeah, we call it live action.
Live action.
Of course you do. All right. So I'm Mr. Record Executive. I heard live action, but what is it?
Okay, so live action, you ever feel the music and wish you could see it? Well, we give you music that you can feel, and through the music and how it's created and what we add to it, you can almost pretty much see it too.
Right.
Case in point, I have a line in the song where it says, "You almost got it and you missed it. Ooh, you got to be quicker than that." Automatically puts you in the mind of that commercial, what it meant to almost have it, and then how many memes you've seen when somebody was almost quicker than that and didn't make it. But from the music we add to it, to the cuts, to the little ad libs we add to it, everything to make sure that it comes across that you can see it, even though you can't physically see it.
We attempt to make cinematic music, so to speak, and it blends genres of hip hop, poetry, dance hall, reggae, and sometimes opera.
Sometimes opera.
Yeah.
That's when our brother comes in. That's when I said the freedoms to do things that could, that you love and allow. Because sometimes you just can't bust into opera when me and B are doing a certain thing, and vice versa.
But sometimes you can.
But sometimes you can't. Depends on where you are.
Interesting. I don't know if you guys know, my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, is an opera singer.
No.
Yeah, Wandolin is her name. Wandolin Abernathy. She's lived in Germany for 30 years now.
Knows who she is. I bet you.
I'll bet he does.
I bet he knows exactly who she is.
I would imagine he knows who she is. He might not, but once again, there aren't a lot of black faces in that world.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. Like he's
big in opera.
Yeah, he's big. He loves that. That's his whole thing. He's got.
So then he'd know Wandolin. Yeah. Wow. So you had opera blended in with your music. I'm really interested now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to drop a link in so people can hear that.
Yeah, we'll definitely put some things together. Everything is always UpRite Lions anyway. So from the website to on all our social media, it's all UpRite Lions. Everything is.
And if you go through YouTube and just type that in, a plethora of things will come up. And live action, you'll actually get to see.
Are you going to explain what plethora means to the uninitiated?
I'm not, but I will if I need
A
to.
multitude, if you will, people.
I will if I need to. Love it.
I
Love
love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. All right. That's something about music that I always find the most interesting. For example, in pop music, I mean, it happened many times, and many people did it. Michael Jackson had a song called, what was the name of that song? Will You Be There? And he starts it out with an orchestra and then operatic singers behind it. And it's really beautiful. And then he goes into a classic pop song, right?
Right.
And I always think it's most interesting when you start to blend genres. And it's very tough. Like you say, how the fuck do you bring an opera? What is he, by the way? Is he soprano, baritone, alto?
I don't
Trice
know what to call it.
Trice is kind of
technically.
all tones, but more, I guess you would say he was a very strong tenor, but he, you know,
Okay.
he does them all. But
Yeah, I
when
get
you
that.
hear Trice's voice, you'll know.
Yeah,
it's
we got to
Trice.
make
It's
sure
one of
that you
those-
drop a link for Trice B. He goes by Trice B Phantom, like Phantom of the Opera. You know what I'm saying? And he
Okay.
blends that style now with everything from EDM to trance and bringing those type of vocals into that music as well, which has
his voice
been
is
phenomenal. Just
when you
right
hear
away.
it though, it's just one of those you go, I haven't heard a voice that sounds like it.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a trained opera singer with the talent and the skill, you know, they move the molecules in the room. Anyone does, right? Like that's the secret to any art. Like, you know, they say acting. What'd you do? Like, man, I'm gonna try to change the molecules in the room.
That's it. That's it. We push energy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what we say about what the show is. It's about pushing the energy. You know what I'm saying? Once
You got to take what's there and work with it, right?
right.
Yeah. Like Stan would tell you, some nights he would just come up and we were in the building. He like, y'all gonna close the night out for me? I just want to see what y'all do because, you know, me and my brother, we go all the way in.
Right,
you know,
right.
people are like, what do you mean you go all the way in? You don't leave our show like when you leave our show, you always say, I see something I never seen before.
Right. Yeah. It's I know Stan, he's like, man, we got this thing called the upright stance. So at a point during the song, doing some of our music, we'll actually like form Voltron. Like he'll get on my shoulders and we'll still be rapping and moving and dancing as like one
Grabbing
unit,
drinks from the bar.
grabbing drinks at the bar and doing all kind of stuff just because that's the energy that we bring. Like we said, it's live action.
Although that was a lucky one. Some guy handed me a full
there's video
beer,
of that. There's
full
footage.
beer. I'm talking about fuzzing over the top.
While he was already sitting on my shoulders and we were still rapping and doing the music. Somebody bought him a beer, handed it to him. It's like those classic moments in your Cheers bar would stand.
100% commitment. I love it. I love it. That's what it takes, man. That's what it takes. It really does. I love the blending of that. I definitely want to hear about that. By the way, anyone's listening to this, we didn't have a chance to talk or meet beforehand. We've been playing email tag back and forth for a couple of weeks. So I'm a bad interviewer right now because I don't know anything. I'm learning everything right now. I had a friend.
Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead.
I was about to say what's happening because people are getting to watch us introduce ourselves to each other, which is actually kind of live. You know what I'm saying?
Just as entertaining when you got entertaining people like yourself and ourselves.
And I think
I didn't want to say anything. Respect. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's all show. Yeah, I know how to do this. The key is not letting you know that you're doing it. I'm just having fun. Anyway, so I had a friend, a guy I was friendly with, who's one of the top skateboarders in the world. He's 47. Yeah, he's 47 now. So he's an old man, but in the skating world, but he still does really well with it and everything. And when he was coming up, I met him when he was 16 years old. He had a kind of cool story. He came from Omaha, Nebraska to San Diego, California. And this was in the early 90s. Yeah, in the early 90s. And he was, I'm 11 years older than him. I'm 58, so he's 47. So he was 16 at the time. I was 27. And he was looking for like a big brother to hang on to and someone who was completely out of his world. And, I look square as Delaware when I'm shaved and my hair is cut short. I look like a Republican racist asshole. That's just unfortunately how that fucking ball bounces.
I see the reels with the clean face.
Say again.
I said I seen the reels with the clean face.
You know, I'm telling the truth. Anyway, so he had just started. The skating world had just started to get into making videos and making it more pronounced. And I know that sounds crazy to anyone who's born after the 90s, but yeah, video was like, it was a whole thing. And I was like, dude, why don't you, instead of going this punk, anti-social, whatever, like skateboarding already is that. Why don't you go the opposite end of the spectrum and put on a pair of fucking chinos, like, put a polo shirt on, put a button-down dress shirt on, maybe even a pair of boat shoes, like full preppy douche, and then go bust your move. And then maybe you have like a pair of really wild sunglasses on, which lets people know that you haven't gone full nerd, right? Yeah. And do that. And instead of having that kind of angular, aggressive kind of, I don't even know what to call it anymore, thrash that was around those days, put a soft edge to it. He just looked at me like I had 4 fucking heads. He didn't get it. I still contend it would be a fucking amazing thing to do. I don't know about now.
It still makes sense. I immediately got it. I thought you was gonna tell me that he did that at one point. You know what I'm saying? Because I got it immediately. I was like, that's an angle. You should work with that if that's a part.
I was gonna say, I thought he was gonna tell us like he turned it into something.
Right.
Well, no, man, he didn't. He just looked at me like,
well, we got you.
We
hear like, no, I know you do. I know, but not everybody has that capacity. You have to rein people like us back in a little bit. And then our job is, as you know, we always have to pull those guys out and those girls out of their heads,
Right. Yeah.
Put a little more paprika over there,
Paprika, I got you.
Yeah.
We're the type of guys that perform with, I have a big Optimus Prime mask because that's one of my monikers. I like Optimus Prime. So like we'll come out on stage and have Transformer like interludes where I still have this big helmet on where we're performing with. So it's a show. It's a movie. We're creating a whole theme and a path. Like, so I don't think twice about being like, oh, did they have on a whole preppy outfit? We come in jumpers.
Yeah. Like we come in work jumpers.
In work jumpers. That's how we come into every show. And then
show. Because the thing is, right? So like, and I noticed, I love to see, the first thing for me is when I walk in a building and I got my jumper on and I got something covering my hair, I love to see the smiles and snickers. I gotta tell you, it's like gas. It's like they're just putting in and they're going premium gas. They just gassing me up. As soon as I see the smiles, the snickers, and I love the whispers like, what are they gonna do? Look at their outfits. Why are they wearing those?
I got you.
I know. And they're like, no, they're burning up in those outfits. Yup, and I'm gonna set the room on fire. All the burning up you were talking about, I am going to unleash as soon as I hit the zipper of this jumper.
It's all over. It's like we almost harness it in that jumper. We harness all the energy we built up to come share with these people every day in that jumper.
God, I gotta tell you, I
when
live
it come
for
off, it's time to work. So like you said, like Stan was like, y'all have a whole show. Cause it used to be an open mic. At open mics, they'd be like, okay, you got 1 song, you got 2 songs. We'd be like, we need an extra few seconds because we got this intro because because it makes sense how it goes into, this song. So like we got a song and an intro.
And to artists listening, I want to say, you got to separate yourself from the building. And what I mean by that, if you've been standing next to somebody all night in the same outfit, just like they have, drinking the same beers they've been drinking, they don't look at you different when you walk up there on stage. They look at you as the guy who was just standing next to them drinking a beer.
That's right.
Like you gotta change. Like, so artist presentation is big for those who like, why y'all go through all that? For real, you gotta think of the mindset of the person standing next to you.
And I literally didn't get that as a younger artist. I was one of those people. And well, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think like that. I'd be right there with you and what I came in off work with and be right there. And that was my mindset. I want to show you that you could be the person next to you and you can still do this. but I had to realize the balance and
The people want to see something that they don't see.
They want to see
every
something
day.
that's what I didn't come to a show to see that.
The guy
So
next to
this was my big brother. I was like, oh, I get it now. You know what I'm saying? Like when he said presentation, I was like, oh. But then I watched us form that presentation that it is now and that it became.
I was a tad bit of a diva with it because I had an outfit for on the way, an outfit for in the building, and then an outfit for the performance. So I was a diva with it. You don't have to do all that. But what I'm saying is you just can't stand next to somebody all night doing the same things they do and expect to be treated different.
Amazing. All right, quick interjection here. I don't know, can one of you turn the camera a little bit more towards your other way? Because your face is getting cut off, B-Star. There you go. Beautiful. Much better. Now I can see you both. Beautiful. Because yeah. So amazing. You B-Star is telling us, all right, B, you're saying that you really didn't have that showmanship, but I contend you did.
No.
He has it in spades. He's like me.
Spades.
Yeah. Seeing you and me, we listen, man, okay? This is what you look like a white boy, all right? So it's a little shocking, I understand.
I'm good.
I love how I look, and I didn't know I was from Trinidad. I love just the whole vibe works.
Ancestry.com.
You said a mouthful, man. You gotta have showmanship. You gotta have flair. And sometimes, look, man, what everyone's fighting, myself included, and Seenya, you tell me how it was for you. Mm-hmm. B, you tell me how it was for you. We get brought up to keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, do your work, stand in line. If you say fart, say excuse me, go to the bathroom, make sure you flush the toilet, put the seat down, right? Say your prayers, and then you want to go and be an artist, and it's like, that's death. That's death. Yeah, that's death. And no one's going to pay $20 to come and see you stand up there and be a good boy or a good girl. Right. So it gets scary, and so some people will push back. A lot of people will push back. But that's the truth, man, and that's what happens with far too many artists, especially musicians. They just don't have a show developed. You guys, like you mentioned, what Megatron? What the fuck did you call Optimus Primus? I don't.
That's I'm Optimus. He's Megatron.
Yeah. So those are Transformers.
Yeah. It's a
Transformer. Yeah. Never watched Transformers. Sorry. Mea culpa. Guilty as charged.
I'm an '80s kid. I like some of the '80s cartoons. I still pull back from that from a lot of.
Plus, it was more of a balance of us being able to say that, okay, you don't have to be the same. You can have two ways and two ideas of the same thing.
Right. It's the yin and yang. It's the same as saying Professor X and Magneto, Martin Luther and Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? It's the play on the both sides of that. I think that's how
I hear you.
Cross as a musical entity. So those are the tropes that we.
It's like Pharrell getting involved with Daft Punk,
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Like that.
Yeah, throw a helmet on. All of a sudden, you become interesting. You're like, what the hell? What the fuck? What's going? Yeah, But listen, you got to have an angle to get that attention, right? Attention's the currency.
It makes sense.
And then believe it. You gotta have an angle you believe. Like people love person who believes in themselves, a confident person.
Isn't that interesting?
In my situation, like my father and my mother, like God rest their souls, like they both taught me. Like my mom's, first off, she blew my head up. I came home and I said, Mom, they said my ears were bigger. She's like, that's because you got powers. You can hear better than them. Like, so I really had to grow up myself, like I wasn't always touched. And then my father would always tell me, you get in a chance to show your top notch, don't throw it and don't wave it in people's face. But if they give you a chance to do it and say, hey, this is your light, you act like it's the last time you're going to have that light, and you run until they take it back from you. And we've been ever since.
Right.
Wow.
Whether they're here or not, God rest their souls. Anthony and Joy, I love y'all. I mean, without them, I wouldn't be the artist I am today or the person, man, just in general.
Right
on.
my parents instilled some of the same things. It took me a longer time to, I think, to get it. I feel like I as I grew and as I created more music, I feel like that helped me develop more of an understanding of what I was feeling and what I was and how I had to be important for myself. You know what I'm saying? So I think I learned that more along the way.
That's that for me. I would say that's the same thing for me. You're very fortunate that that was how you grew up.
Yeah. So, and to parents, if you have a talented child, and this is for the parents listening or people who have a talented child, or just around, if you're in an arm shot, ear shot, and can touch this talented child, you got to treat them different. You can't raise them like normal children because they're not normal. Like the level of talent that some of them have, it absorbs the whole being of that child. So when they wake up, that's what they want to do. That's how they want to do. And you like find a plan B. When you're that good, you don't need a plan B.
Yeah, figure out
Plan
how
B
plan,
is
how
plan B
A
is
works.
mentally figuring out how plan A works and how to use it, and how if something physically goes awry or something mentally goes awry, that you can still keep it going.
Right.
So plan B is figuring how to keep plan A going instead of being like, well, you need something to fall back on. Yes, I'm gonna fall back on knowing what to do with this amazing gift I
In
have.
every way possible, because that's the thing. You hone those
True.
gifts and they can fit everywhere.
Because if you don't, sometimes you might clip them up and slow them up. You want to be the reason they made it to that goal, not in spite of. You don't want to be that part of their Grammy story. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, man. I lean into what you say. I do. I lean into it. I tell you what, though, I have to say, the older I've gotten, the more I've seen people who came from the opposite and do really well because they use that as fuel and motivation. It's kind of like the flip side of the same coin, which is really weird, right? Because no matter how thin you slice anything, there's still two sides, right? Yeah. So, like, I envy, like, my wife had a similar upbringing to Seenya because she was just, you know, that was just how she was raised. You know, not that my folks were abusive or anything like that, but I didn't have that. I knew from when I was a little kid, like you guys are saying, I knew that all I wanted to do was to be an actor, a singer, a dancer, a writer, a painter, whatever. Like, that was my vibe. And I also happen to like sports a lot. And yeah, you know, but I didn't know how to, like, for me, I just didn't know how to make those things live in the same world. And, you know, you have to, anyway, finally getting into acting. I was like 28 years old when I first got involved, professional job, like card carrying member of SAG. Might have even been a year after that. Anyway, but yeah, I wish I'd have just gone into it right out, you know, out of the gate. We all have our different paths.
At the time we were coming up, it was looked at different. That's why I'm saying to parents now, because things are different. And, you know,
do you think so? Do you think things are that much different?
I mean, in a way, because
I don't know. I think it is, but I'm not sure.
Think about it, like, not to use such a negative subject, but child rearing, like whippings. Whippings were more prevalent back in the day than they are now. It was you were known to get somebody get a strap with a belt. Now you hear that there's CPS, Dafis, or any other company who will be at somebody's house over a whooping. And back in the day, you know, parents kind of picked up anything. Some parents did. It just depends on the situation. So,
yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, my parents dished out corporal punishment. You know, so if we stepped out of line, I knew I was going to catch, you know, an elbow to the back of my head or smack on my ass.
Parents were more reactive.
What?
So, yeah,
you know, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You know, people talk about child abuse if you look at the child wrong. You know, that tone in your voice is very abusive, sir. It's like, really? Why don't you just stay in your own lane?
More people these days are open to their children doing something that's more creative or something that I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, just to be honest, because, you know, I just like you see people pushing their kids to be YouTube famous, like, or, you know, but this is a concept now that is open. People are now parents and still being open to their kids being creatively successful. It's just
Yeah, they get it. There's more opportunity now.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, yeah, you know, the smartphone, the internet, all the video places, all the social media, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Everybody
true.
can be famous, so everybody's more open to it. When we
Mhm.
were coming up, and I'd be like, "Yo, I think I want to write songs." They're like, "But you don't know how to do that. How are you gonna do that? There's not
By
a way."
doing it.
Just do it. What do you mean you want to make music? You made one. What do you mean you have a song? Well, now what? You know what I'm saying? So the thought of how to do these things were unfathomable at that time, and now it's at the click of a button. So yeah, parents are more open to it.
I always say, who here amongst us? And I always come, this is from a different conversation. People saying, like, you know, things are tough. And, oh, fuck, I can't. I know it's not working out for me. So they quit. I'm like, all right, cool. Who here amongst us walked on our first try? I don't see any hands going up, right? It's like, did you stop? No. Was it like, ah, fuck it, I can't walk. I'm just not meant to walk, right? You have to have that same, and people go, well, that's different. Is it though? Is it? Right. Right. And can I really learn how to walk by listening to you tell me how to walk? Not really, man, because I'm still in my body and I got to find my balance, my footing, my sense of gravity and weight distribution, you know, proprioception. Where am I in space? Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, man. No, I agree. I like it. Very much simpatico here. I like it. So we got the Trinidadian.
No, yeah, that's it, sir.
I can't even speak English. We have the flag. See how I switched that? What's the other? What is that? Is that a poster, a painting on the ceiling behind you?
It might be Bob, or it might be
that
my
psychedelic
psychedelic mushroom. My room is all black, like so. When I write, you know, sometimes I set the mood to black light in the room, and I write on my phone. So you know, I still have light.
Motherfucker just says, yeah, it might be a psychedelic mushroom because when I write, I got black light.
It could be that.
Yeah, yeah. I had to be an artist, man, because I'm just a character in everything.
You think that's a safe bet? You think that's a safe bet?
Everything I do, I'm a character, so I just had to be an artist. I had no choice. Like my parents are like, you gotta do something with that, because you're the one kid that we got that's just like all our kids are interesting, but you're super interesting.
And just to put this out there, because we, you know, I know we're jumping around in our timelines, ourselves each other. Like before, these are things I know too, though. But this dude was signed at like 15. He got a deal. You know what I'm saying? Him and his older brother, you know, before we met, before everything transpired to be what we are as the UpRite Lions, there's a whole transition of that. The way he got from New Jersey to Greensboro, North Carolina is still music related. It's still music as well. Like this music truly is a part of us, and it literally helped map the journey that made us meet, and that took us upon our paths in the first place. I think it's cool to say.
There's so many things that make you go, how did they even meet? Because I did come to North Carolina for music to do this record right here.
Hold it up. Hold it up. Funhouse.
Yeah, Funhouse Blake was
right on.
Yeah, so I got a deal, but I had opportunity to play football as well because I was a good athlete, a fast cornerback, and I ran like a 4.2, 4.3. So I had options, you know.
What the fuck do they feed you guys in the islands that you're running a 4.2 40?
Yeah, because it's like sometimes where I came from in Trenton, New Jersey, it was rough, so I was always running anyway. You know what I mean? Whether I was running to the fight or from the fight. So
you're fucking killing me. Did you really just say that?
Yeah. I'm from Trenton, New Jersey. People who know Trenton, New Jersey.
what
they would
I was always, quote, I was always running from stuff anyway. All right. That's all you had to say.
So it started working out for me. You know what I mean?
Wow. That's straight smoke. 4.2. Good Lord, dude. Wow. I don't think I really don't think it would have worked out in the NFL for you, honestly.
It wouldn't have because the older I got, the slower I got. It started turning to like 4.4, 4.5. You know what I'm saying? So the bigger I got, and you know, what I mean, it was just they expected because I was big for a kid, but they expected more from me, but I just didn't continue to grow. I kind of, you know how you tail off, you shoot up fast.
The way they wanted you to grow, you're growing just fine. Yeah.
Yeah. They
yeah.
to be a prospect. You know how that goes. I get groomed. So if you wonder why sometimes it seems like I handle myself well, I've been groomed since I was small to do certain things because of my talent, whether it be musically or whether it be physically in football or just being physically talented in general or all around athlete. Right. Meeting my partner who's like anti-athlete, not really that he doesn't like it, but you know what I mean?
I wasn't into sports. I didn't do any of that. I was at home writing in this book, and I didn't know if it was a poem, a song, or rap. I just knew that creative shit is what I wanted to do, and that's what I worked on. I went to college for advertising because you had to have a plan B, right? And I felt like the best way to be able to use my creative abilities in something that was the real world acquisition was advertising and marketing, which I ended up loving and able to turn around and use to help push what we do today.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but
what agency did you work for?
Mine. I worked for the sales factory in North Carolina. And that was just my major in college. So that's what I usually worked on. I worked off and on for the sales factory when I was in Greensboro. And then
right on.
Shout out to sales factory.
Yeah,
they gave me a job too.
Right. It was like they let me run some of my weird
yes, they believe. So shout out to them.
Yeah, they believe. They did some of our first artwork. They let me run some shows out there.
I want to give you two guys a show.
Good people, man.
Yeah, they gave me a job too.
Oh my God. I want to give you guys a show. Just fucking put a camera on you. Amazing.
That's in the process. That's in the process. So maybe we can talk about how that can happen, because that's truly something right now. We've done a few radio shows, but we were just discussing doing a show.
No, fuck the radio. Radio's great. Use it. Keep using it, but you need to be on screen. Yeah.
This is the conversation. That now I know it's true.
You said it.
Because you said it.
Yeah, and thank you. Look, no, but for real, thank you, because I've been trying to sell this to him. So thank you. You just did me a favor, because I've been trying to sell it, and he just sometimes like
he's like, I got you, brother.
Look, because I'm you and you're me, and we look great.
So this is what happens on stage with a backbeat. All right, I like it. And the Transformer get up. I'd pay $20 to see that.
Somewhere in there, I remind him that
grandfather. and he reminds you of?
Yeah.
I know. I said sometimes I remind them that I am a grandfather. I'm 45 years old.
You're a grandfather, 45? Mm-hmm. See, now you just make me realize how old I am. So yeah, I'm not vibing on you right now.
No, but I just call myself grandpa because you know they call us at 45. Once you hit 40, they call you grandpa.
They start calling you old man. Yeah.
Right. It's interesting.
I'll run circles
how this
around
game goes. Yeah, how this game and how this music, one, keeps you young, and two, it's a place where they told you that, well, you know, in hip hop, it's supposedly just a young game, but in all honesty, everybody grows up. It goes for it. This music is forever, and it outlasts every thought process you had. So it's very interesting, and people find it crazy that he's 45, I'm 39, and we're still doing this music at a level that still competes with what's happening now, but at the same time, it looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
So this
you know, I hear what you're saying. You know, it's that thing. Like I'm sitting here thinking, listening to you guys talk, right? Excuse me, two black musicians, and so I went to the extreme, and I'm like, well, fucking the Roots ain't spring chicken, right? Granted, the Roots have massive success to the Tonight Show band, you know, full stop. But when you start to get older and you don't have that level of success, you know, it starts fucking with your mind. And then you're like, I have to evolve. And what you guys are talking about is interesting because I have the same thought. My wife and I talk about this all the time. So the majority in this country, just in this country, and this is just one pimple on the behind of the entire planet Earth, right?
Indeed.
But the majority of the population is 65 and older, and it's going to keep going that way, you know, because births have dropped down massively since this pandemic. We won't get into that conversation, but anyway, so how do you entertain a populace as it gets older? Because they still liked what they like. Well, you've got to bring more relevant lyrics to it, more mature themes and subject matter. It's still got to be groovy. It's still got to be funky. It's still got to be smooth, right?
Yeah.
And so I always think that's a far more interesting starting point with anything. Because, you know, granted, look, the kids are the ones who go to the movies 10 times, and now nobody does that anymore, right? It's all streaming and YouTube and TikTok and whatever, right?
That's consumption.
Yeah, I just think that it's a largely untapped market, just like, you know, what we do to our workforce, to women in this country. 50% of the goddamn population, and they're minimized and diminished.
I just was having this conversation with a coworker. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's wow.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It's craziness. It's insane. Yeah, it's insane. So I would, yeah, I that's more interesting to me. And you know, maybe I sound like an old head. Okay.
not at all. And yo, let me tell you, like I love that statement, old head, because yo, isn't the goal to get older, to live as long as you can, a long, prosperous life? They bug me out when they be like, you an old head. You wish to be. Hopefully you'll make it to be one. Because nobody wants to tap out early. I mean, what do you mean, old head? I don't understand. I've never got how that was a bad thing, how they try to make it a bad thing. So I'm taking it back.
No, it's our all right. I'll get on my soapbox for a tenth of a second. I want to keep talking to you guys. We have that culture of the worship of youth, and it's just fucking insane. Again, just like minimizing and diminishing females. Most of your life is spent as an old person, right? You're a kid for a hot fucking minute, hot minute, and you're beautiful for, if you're lucky, you know, you're beautiful, like that skin, you know, that the muscles, you know, certain other body parts, right? Like, you're only that for a minute. You might have a 15-year run if you're lucky. And then what? Then what? Right? Let's explore that, because that's what happens. And then everyone starts drinking, smoking, pill popping, shooting, fighting.
Yeah. Life.
There's a reason. There's a whole, see what I'm saying? And I just think that market right there is that market, that theme, that dynamic, that those chapters of life.
Toxic market put on that toxic film they put on our country. Yeah, we get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you though, like I've learned in this though, for something we were touching on earlier, like think about what you've done really as an artist. You know, don't think about who knows your name, but think about what you've done. Like, someone said to me the other night, you can go back, Shef, and look, and there's 20 years of work with you and your brother, working hard. Yo, you should be very, very proud of that. Because I think I made a statement that sounded to them like I wasn't really. But no, it was more of I just know me and my brother deserve more that we haven't received. Like, at the same time, we have lived off our music, where most artists can't say that. Like, yo, I want artists to know that you don't have to be a starving artist to be hungry. Remember that. It sounds weird.
No, it doesn't.
A starving artist to still be hungry.
Word, please, because it like these same trope lenses we were discussing that you were just saying, like this thing of youth, all this. That's the same lens they'll put on an artist who's working on coming from their grassroots or
Yeah,
independent.
you don't have
That you
to
have to be
start.
a starving artist. I feel like a lot of artists felt like that was a necessity for them to further gain. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to starve yourself to be hungry for what you want. And that's a lesson that if you haven't learned it or if you didn't think about it, please put it in place now before you begin your journey.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that you find those other ways to
Because
fix.
it's an added block. Because there's gonna be blocks anyway. Why would you
Anyway.
add one from yourself? There's going to be blocks anyway.
Yeah, this shit
There's gonna be
ain't
an
easy
artist.
anyway.
There's gonna be an artist that don't like you, a venue don't like you, just a person that don't like you. And some of these people are in a position to say no, and that's the ugly part. But you have to be prepared for that and know that, okay, this didn't work out not because I wasn't talented enough. This just wasn't my situation. Who's to say that if he still signed me not liking me, he wouldn't have played with my money and put me in a position where, you know, we got to do things different? Because at the end of the day, the success of a business is what it brings in compared to what it's giving out.
Whoever's listening to this, these guys are where the rubber meets the road. This is called perspective. I love it. 100% right. You never know what one job that you really wanted to get but didn't get would have created for you, or what it would have not created for you.
Exactly.
And you don't want to get lost in that. So as an artist, and you're saying they're going to say no. That's pretty much what you're going to hear every effing day of your life. Every fucking day as an artist, no matter what you do, the easiest, the cheapest thing to do is to say no. And as human beings, the easiest and cheapest thing to do is to tear something down or find fault or criticize it. And we're all that way, myself included. You guys, if you're going to be honest with yourselves, included. The challenge is in remaining, wait for it, upright and rising above it. You're welcome. You see how that is? Smooth as silk.
Can we get a copy of this? Can we get a copy?
I just opened up your entire new branding and marketing strategy, right? But it's the truth, though, man. It's the truth, and it'll make a motherfucker crazy hearing no all the time, being diminished, being paid less than, and can you imagine a musician getting shafted by the club owner? Right? I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, everything you just said.
Me too.
Professional.
You gotta be professional about it.
Because if you don't, then you get the name of acting out, and they handle business this way. Nobody wants to work with a fighter, a bad business person, someone who doesn't show up, a liar. No one really wants to work with any of that. So,
like you said,
let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. You're very good, Lord. You guys got great attitudes and perspective on this. How long before you realized that, number one, it's really the business of show, and that you have to be someone who's likable to be around and trustworthy, responsible, and professional? Like that's common sense. But as artists, we kind of forget that. Did you guys always have that, or what was? Do you remember the point where you had that realization? Like, yo,
I think we always had a hint of that, because that's my business aspect, thinking of how I want us to put all this stuff together. So I think
okay,
always there, but I think we learned the importance of it as we grew. Because even though it was always there, that didn't mean that's always how it happened. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that goes out the fucking window when they telling you they was gonna do something and they not now, and now you have to do something about it. So sometimes there was no room for how you thought you was gonna play it out. So we've learned not only through knowing up front, but then having to be face to face with it and seeing the results on both ends.
And I think I learned at 15 after having my deal sold to another company, like being sold, like, what I mean? Because I started out, like the record I showed you, I started out on Profile Records. I was sold to that company because younger, I was getting in trouble. You know what I mean? You give a 15-year-old houses, cars, money, things. Actually, back then, remember, I'm 45. So back then, me having all those things, I didn't really, my brother was my power of attorney, but he was just kind of trying to find his way. He was only a few years older than me. So we're all trying to find our way. And I realized that right then that, okay, I talk with my A&R every day. I hung with one of the label execs every day. And they kind of traded me and sold me like I was the desk they were talking about moving the other day. And right
Now
then,
we know why Prince put slave across his cheek.
Yep. And I was like, okay, it's a business. And right then, I was like, it's a business. And I don't even know if I want to do it anymore. That's why I kind of bounced back.
Yeah, when that realization first kicks in, wherever you are in your path, your journey.
Yeah.
Whoo, yeah. All the warm fuzzies just go right out your, they just go right out the window. Yeah. You realize you're just a commodity.
Yeah.
Then you
which is cool. You are not the commodity. Your act, your creation.
Mm-hmm.
But then that lesson of differentiating between, okay, this is me, and this is the brand or the creation or the idea, the product that I am. It's hardcore, man. Really hardcore. I've talked about this with non artists before, and they just they always get that glazed over look in their eye, like, what are you talking about?
They don't see it. I suggest though, as artists, you find this is why I do this moment. Like we've had plenty of those.
Yeah,
like
that's what keeps you a little bit grounded.
I've had times where I've lost a loved one during this journey, and I was kind of at my worst on whether I was going to do it. And we got to the venue, the mics were messed up, everything was messed up, and we still went on, and we still rocked out hard. And this woman came up to me, and she looked at me, and she said, "I was going to kick my son out. He does music just like you. I was going to kick him out when I got home. Y'all."
Wow.
You just bought him 3 months. You guys just bought him 3 months. If he can do that,
if he can work and do some stuff like
that, then he can stay in my house and put it together. Like, and those are our small little warm and fuzzy.
Wow.
Because other than that, this game would just tear at your heart now. Stuff.
Wow, that's a mouthful, man. Damn. You were literally at your lowest, and you got up there and just put it all in the performance. Showed up. By the way, anybody who's listening to this, who's in the arts, who's not in the arts, because this isn't all just about, art is life and life is art. 80% of your success is just showing up, maybe even 90%.
Yeah.
I'll be fair. You got to keep showing up, man.
Yep. And show up with the attitude like, yo, I'm here. I don't know if I'm going to win, but I'm going to try my damnedest.
Right.
I'm try my damnedest.
Yeah, we got this thing we always did at every show, like, because there's been some great shows where we got, rafters full of college students, these college campus tours, or at these Black hair expos. There's been some great shows. There's been some shows where it's 2 people there. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Big Brother back home in Greensboro. There was this thing that we always had, and Chif had the same type of movement and thought process. It's like, whether it's 1 or 100, y'all about to get this work. You know what I'm saying? Y'all about to get everything. Because I was at home working on this shit anyway. So everybody that's in here is about to get this.
To quote my brother Abyss, is public practice if it has to be.
Bare minimum, Abyss. Right.
Public practice if it has to be. Because at the end of the day, 1 or 100, no matter who's there or how many people there, you never know who's looking. Don't cheat those people.
Nobody gets cheated. You know what I'm saying?
Don't cheat those people, or you're cheating yourself, because you never know what that person could do. We cheat ourselves with Stan. We don't talk to you right now.
Those type of things. Just that simple.
That's simple. We're not here right now discussing this right now. If we went in there that night and was like, we're not going to do our regular show.
We just going to do this little bit. That don't stay in a man's mind to make him go, hey, I think you should call my other friend because he does some really cool things. And I think if you guys talk to each other, you'd find something of good conversation.
And look, so 2 sides of it. That's the good feeling side. Business side. Stan was one of the first people to pay us, so we could say to everybody else in that city from this point on, you can't not pay me.
Because he did.
Because he did.
Set the precedent. Set the precedent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
You
allowed,
cannot pay me because he did.
and you not better than what he is.
Plain
I'm
and
just gonna
simple.
let that sit. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'll tell a quick story. I want to wrap this up. We're gonna have to do this again. This has been cool. Really cool.
I've enjoyed
Didn't know
it.
what to. Yeah, totally enjoyed this. You guys are great guests, and I would just love to follow your crazy asses around with the camera and just see what comes out of it.
We're gonna talk about this later. We're talking about this later.
Yeah.
We're just talking. There's a million miles between now and then, but yes, you said something that's it's so amazing to hear you say that, and it's one of the reasons you guys are successful. To me, it's clear. You have got to play to one person or to an empty fucking room, and I've done both, with the same energy and respect that you would pay to 1,000-seat theater or a 90,000-seat venue, right? You got to do it. And that you never get, by the way, because it became obvious to me when you go out there and perform for nobody, like you're doing I'm not a musician, but you're doing what am I doing? A sound check right now? Like it's 9 o'clock. Did everybody know we're here at 9? It's right. It's where it separates the girls from the ladies, and the boys from the men.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to soldier through that stuff. But then really beautiful stuff comes out of it. I'm just going to say this one last thing. My wife and I we went to Sundance. We went to Park City. No, we went to Salt Lake City. She had a speaking engagement. She'd written her book. We went there. And she'd written a piece about John Brown, the abolitionist, white man who they hung for trying to help America live up to her ideals.
Mm-hmm.
What a concept. Please allow that to sink in. He got killed. Others did not. So we do this thing about John Brown, and I'm just like, this is pretty esoteric, Don. So okay, but I'm, your hubby. I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. We'll do it. So we do this thing. We'd done it before at Harper's Ferry in Virginia for the 150th anniversary of the Niagara movement. And we were met there by about 300 skinheads, white supremacists, Nazis, Peckerwoods, racists, Klansmen. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. That was something else. But we go to this theater in Park City, and we'd been on public radio and public access TV that day. We had our friends show up, so I'm not really going to count them, right? So there was 6 of them, right? Mother, the daughter, the whatever. Yep. And there was a man and his wife. That was it. 2 people. And it was a theater that held, I think, 500 people. Good size auditorium. That's empty. That's quiet. I can hear my stomach. I can hear myself breathing. We do the whole piece, and by the way, we're in full garb. Like I went down to Western Rental and I did it up. I look like John Brown, my wife, my thing. At the end of it, the old man and his wife comes up. Guess who he is? He's John Brown's great grandson. He was 89, 90 years old. He's got fucking tears coming down his eyes, and he shows me his great grandfather's little notebook as he made his journeys across America. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, really? Did it do anything to move the needle on my career or her career or any? No. But just to get a chance to have that moment, man, that's priceless.
There's no number value on that.
And in my opinion, it did move the needle in your career because those are
you might be right.
That push you to that next level to say, I just leveled up.
Because you did.
You just got new armor. You know what I'm saying? You just got a new weapon. You just leveled up. Right, those are the moments that make you go, all right, no matter what this gives me, I'm ready for it. Because I beat this. And then the person who I was being or portraying for their family member or just for anybody to come up to you and it was
That's
more
honor.
it's 100 times more real for them than it'll ever be for you.
Ever. And I mean, yeah, you just said a mouthful. 100%. It's overwhelming. You know, it was just overwhelming. He's like, no one's ever talked about my grandfather. You know, he called him his grandfather like that. And you were all, everything you said was right. Because, you know, my wife is a stickler for the history, the details, and etc. The whole thing. She wrote it. And he's like, you reminded me of him. And I'm like, dude, I'm just a guy. Thank you. This is like, I couldn't even speak, you know?
That's because those moments. That's
Thank
one
you for
of them.
sharing.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, it was crazy. Listen, guys, this was amazing. I loved it. We got to do it again. We're going to be talking, obviously. We're going to put links up to the website, to the music. And I don't know, maybe some, listen, you guys got to give me some pictures.
Listen, I'm gonna give you this guy
of you guys in your
Sharknado 4, because when we got out here, we used to do all the act on the side to make money too. So we did all the extra work, you know.
Sharknado 4, a few other movies. But,
yeah,
but anyway, we're gonna send you some pictures. Yes, that was a terrible movie. Yes.
Yeah, we love it.
We're Z-list actors. We're Z-list
right
actors.
now. Yeah, I do want to take a second and shout out our film crew, Valente Films, and Mike LaPut, that team of crew along with ourselves.
So all the great videos that you guys are
direct all our
see?
videos that we've been putting out. Our newest song, which is funny. I thought you introed it perfectly earlier. You was like, the music, it's got to be funky still. It's got to be funny. It's got to have fun. I was like, has he heard Bick? But the new song is called Bick, which is Bitch I'm Conscious, which is it's funny, it's enjoyable.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's got a groove to it.
Yes.
It's new age with good lyrics. So yeah, I'll make sure that you get that in your inbox just to chuckle and have a good time with.
And look, and we don't curse, I don't think. Except for the bitch.
Yeah, we've got a raw edit. It's radio ready. It's fine. So, but yeah, I wanted to point out the Valente Films and Mike LaPut. They make all of our stuff like cinematic movies. So that's a thing that we've been able to do, especially during this time where live performances aren't necessarily the thing you can go to. Is creating these visuals that still give you the mindscape of where we're coming from. So I just wanted to plug that real quick too. We really appreciate it.
100%. I love it. I love it.
Actors, love your brand, love yourself.
Yeah,
love what you do. Don't pretend to do it. Be it, and then you won't have to pretend to do it.
Coming in so fucking hot. I love it. All right, guys, stay tuned. I want to leave the show. I'm going to end it right here. Don't go anywhere. I can't wait to hear the Bick, because bitch, I'm conscious.
Exactly. I definitely need a copy of it.
I gotta get a copy of you saying it just like that.
I know. I need a copy of this whole thing.